You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steeler Nation. It is The Drive here on a Wednesday on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson with you for the next 2 hours, Matt, as the sun is shining.
It's getting nice out there.
It's getting a little bit nicer out there, which means it'll probably snow tomorrow. That's how things work here this time of year.
Yeah, but it's going to be toasty in Arizona for us. We're going to get some sun.
Real toasty for us in Arizona. Yeah, a couple of housekeeping reminders right off the jump here. First, we will not have a show tomorrow.
Once in a while, we have to have an in-service day.
Little maintenance day for the drive.
Maintenance day.
Yeah, in-service day. I'm doing a parent-teacher conference tomorrow with my dad.
With your dad,
at Wrigley Field during the Cubs home opener. So yes, no show tomorrow as I'm kind of helping my pops check something off his bucket list of taking his son to opening day at Wrigley Field. My dad is from Chicago.
I just hope your flights all work out.
Yeah, you and me both. I said to him maybe we should cancel those and just drive out tonight. But we'll see. That's going on tomorrow. My dad, I've shared the stories before, but he's been in Pittsburgh for 39 years. He's been he's been converted to the Steelers and the Penguins, but he still loves to the Steelers and the Penguins, but he still loves the Bulls and loves the Chicago Cubs. That's his favorite team in the world
since day one. Yeah,
since day one. Cried like a baby in 2016 when they won the World Series finally after 108 years or whatever it was. And so him and I.
That is unbelievably cool to go that long without a World Series, right? Yeah.
I mean, not cool for all the Chicago Cubs fans that went their whole life without seeing their team win a championship,
which are many, but
many.
Anyone that had to be a part of that had to be high on the best World Series ever.
Unbelievable,
right?
Yeah. And so we've tried in the past, but he was a violinist and had a crazy schedule. I worked in sports media and had a crazy schedule.
It's not 9 to 5, yeah.
We had plans to do this in 2020 to go to the Cubs home opener in March of 2020, or maybe it was like early April 2020. But then COVID hit in February, and the MLB season got moved to the bubble. So after literally probably like a decade plus year of trying, my dad and I are finally getting to Wrigley. It'll be my first time opening day tomorrow.
That's awesome.
But we will be back on Friday with a show to close down the week. And then Saturday.
And then we're off to Arizona.
Saturday, we're off to Arizona for the owners' meetings. We'll have a bonus show for you on Sunday. And the front half of the week next week, we'll be doing all of our shows from sunny Phoenix, Matt, where it's going to be 90-some degrees, baby. I can't wait.
So I can't wait to go. It'll be a blast. It's a much different environment, though, than the Combine, folks. Like, Dane's not going to be walking by and we grab him, I mean, now every coach, it's not really as well represented. It's the owner, all 32 coaches. Omar will be there, I'm sure. But, like, the higher-ups and some people that are non-football people in the organization. But all in all, it's not like the running back coaches won't be walking around, or scouts, or
the Combine,
media people,
where literally the entire football world is in Indianapolis for a week.
Right.
This isn't nearly to that extent.
But like Schefter will be there, the guys like that, and maybe we can grab somebody like that. Maybe Fowler's around or somebody like along those lines. But it's not like every fantasy dude and
here's
draft
someone
Nick.
From the Athletic. Here's someone from the Ringer.
Right. I'll grab him. Right.
Yeah.
But it is a cool environment. And I assume we'll broadcast at the hotel the owners are staying at. We don't stay there, but it's uncomfortably nice. I mean, it really is. I mean, they set us up on the lawn, like the pool or the pond. The pond will be good for you. That's definitely the case.
It's like if it's an outdoor concert venue, the billionaire owners are underneath the pavilion. We're out in the lawn.
In the
mud,
all
at the same show, but we're out in the lawn.
We're seeing the same band, yeah.
I love it.
But you'll like it.
It's kind of one of the last few things I've got on my checklist that I haven't done in my decade of NFL media.
The owner's party is unbelievable.
I am looking forward to. I need to bring a nice outfit for that, don't I?
I don't put a tie on, but I definitely slacks, button up, jacket,
cool,
nice shoes. Yeah.
I meant to ask you that at some point, so I'm glad I thought about it here.
But you'll see Andy Reid in a Hawaiian shirt,
t-shirt,
but you're not Andy Reid.
But I'm not Andy Reid.
Right?
Certainly can't grow a mustache like Andy Reid can. That's for sure.
But I went up to the bar and got a drink, and Venus and Serena were in the line next to me, getting a drink. This is awesome.
The Williams sisters. Right. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, can you teach me forehand, backhand? How do you serve like that? That's unbelievable. No, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a fun experience. The weather's going to be great. And Matt, I'm sure you and I, despite, being there for a work trip.
Working hard.
I'm sure we'll find a way to have a little bit of fun.
I bet.
You and I as well.
But there's some good grub in that neck of the woods, too.
I am very excited for some of that Arizona, that southwestern corridor of the country food.
Maybe a little tequila
cuisine.
in the sun.
And maybe a little más tequila as well. Matt, some news of the day and some pre-draft visits to get us started here. It's not a ton of news of the day.
No,
but,
it's getting slow.
Joe Flacco back with Cincinnati. Did you hear what he had to say, though? Pretty candid
no,
in his little media
I think it's perfect for him. I think he's still playing pretty well.
So does he, because he said, believe me, I wish I was the guy somewhere else. And I think teams are dumb for not having me be that guy. Not being one of those,
kind of right.
Not being one of those guys to sign somewhere. Yeah, it pisses me off a little bit, but at the same time, I'm very happy to be here. End quote. I think it's awesome for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Ideal backup. Burrow's been hard to keep on the field a little bit, but why wouldn't he go back why wouldn't the Colts bring him back while Jones is healing or whatever?
Sure.
You know?
I think there's a lot of those examples. And I wonder, listen, I realize with his age, that's a big kind of outlier.
Yeah.
But I wonder,
he was actually retired for a while.
Yes.
You know?
I wonder, though, if there's a scenario where someone's quarterback gets hurt in training camp, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, Bengals, we'll give you a 5th-round pick, a 6th-round pick.
Well, that's how he became Bengal in the first place. Kind of.
It's true,
right.
But yeah, Joe Flacco back.
That's a great backup.
It's absolutely. And just a great, second set of eyes for Joe Burrow on the sideline and all those different things that we talk about that backup quarterbacks can provide for the starter. But I just found with him so candidly saying, I wish I was going to be the guy somewhere else. Maybe that's not still entirely off the table, depending on how training camp and preseason shake out.
He's got to be the last of Matt Williamson recruiting assistant VHS tape dudes that I watched.
He's probably the last guy in the NFL that still had a VHS tape.
Yeah, I would say, because digital was starting to come in.
Yeah. Even Cam, I don't think Cam had a VHS tape.
People might not even know what DV Sport is, but it's all over. If you look for it, it's all over the sidelines.
All over the sidelines.
And they were created actually by a Lebo dude that I know, and they were just starting to incorporate into colleges and things of that nature, where you could download all that, the digital tape instead of having. We had a room this size full of VHS tapes, and I'd go up to the front, and every morning I'd get a bin of VHS tapes like this, watch them all, sort them. These are the unsolicited tapes. These are the ones we asked for. Woodland Hills versus Penn Hills.
Yeah,
put that over there, right? And then you don't throw them away. We got tape over them next year.
That's a good piece of lore from the past. I still remember my parents arguing. My dad loved Seinfeld. My mom loved ER.
Okay.
And I still remember a couple times as a kid that Chris, did you write over the ER episode of Seinfeld? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think there were some divorces that happened in those days for those.
I'm 35. Right? I'm about the line of demarcation, I think, in that conversation. If you're younger than me, that probably goes way over your head. If you're older than me, you're picking up what I'm putting down.
So I'll tell you one quick story about this. This is Matt the Dork, because
the weird world of Matt Williamson.
I think we kept the tape a year after they got sent to us or whatever.
Okay.
And then our video guy was like, these are pretty rancid. Just get rid of them. But I kept them all.
These are pretty rancid.
I kept them all, and I bought used DVRs and set them up all over my house. So I recorded college football, everything that was on every weekend.
Sure.
Just for draft stuff. That I would do that in my free time when I came home from Pitt.
In the evenings when you were having a glass of bourbon and needed something to watch.
I would watch... this time of year, I'd pull out A&M versus the TV tapes.
Mm-hmm.
And Excel spreadsheets were new. I would take all my notes. I'd cut and paste stuff from all over the league. I printed out these draft documents that were like the beast, sent them to the Steelers. I sent them a couple times, they'd write back, this is really impressive, young man. Things like that.
Yep.
I mean, I remember even especially the year I was with Akron, because I was a bachelor, basically. I mean, I went to this tiny, really terrible apartment. And when I got home from doing Akron stuff, I watched draft tape reruns over and over and over on all these VHS tapes that have my Pitt labels on them. And I remember I was all proud of myself, and I took my draft document to J.D. Brookhart, our head coach at Akron, and he's like, this is unbelievable. You should definitely be an NFL scout. He's like, but what if you'd have put this much time into our recruits? I'm like, I was looking at it like a hobby,
Sure.
I'm here, coach, I'm here 90 hours a week,
on.
But he's like, yeah, but this could have been high school tape. Like, yeah, maybe I should have showed you.
Maybe I should have showed you on that one. That's good. Okay, funny nerd story for you on my end. 2009 was my freshman year at WVU. Okay, and that was kind of right in the middle of making the change of everything from tape to digital.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I started interning for the football team, the athletic department as a freshman, low man on the totem pole. And one of my first assignments was all the game tapes from the last 5 years, put them into the deck, rip them into digital, into the computer, and then go through and mark them. Here's a 37-yard touchdown run against Rutgers by Avon Coburn. You know what I mean? So that when the producers go back and they're looking to put together, Avon Coburn's getting honored for the WVU Hall of Fame or whatever.
They don't have to watch everything.
Amos Zaraway's getting honored for the WVU Hall of Fame. They can just go into the system, type in Zaraway, and there pop up 300 highlights.
Yeah, that technology did not exist.
Right, and it was just starting to become a thing my freshman year. And so again, low man on the totem pole, like my first weeks interning with the football team in the athletic department, it's like, here's all these game tapes. Here's Amos Zaraway and Avon Coburn and Pac-Man Jones and Chris Henry and all these guys. Go through and categorize them all, basically. Every play, 17-yard catch, 9-yard touchdown run. They gave me all these different keywords to use that would pop in the system. And I spent basically my whole first semester, like, I think my internship was like 12 hours a week or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 6-hour days, something like that, categorizing those old tapes. And one of those tapes was December 1st, 2007, 13-9. And I kindly told my bosses I will not be categorizing this.
I can't rewatch it.
I said, I cannot rewatch this. I was there, okay? I still remember every detail painstakingly from 2 years ago. I will not ever.
It's Jack Ham going back to training camp.
It's Jack Ham going back to training camp.
Right.
I think that's probably the only WVU game in my life that I've never rewatched.
Like, I don't have any. I'm not going to.
And I was just like, I was very upfront. I was like, I'm just not doing that one.
Yeah.
I'll do all these other 200 tapes you have for me, but you need to find a different intern to do that one.
It's not because I'm lazy. I've done 200. It's just I'm not.
Those
my eyeballs
are
aren't
still
putting.
a little too deep. I don't need to throw salt into those ones.
So I don't know exactly how this went, but like when I was at Pitt, Ben McAdoo, was one of our offensive GAs at one time. Scott McCurley, the Steelers' current linebacker coach for the GA. Those guys, I mean, this was 2000-ish. As soon as the game ended and they got off the plane, they went straight to the facility and had to cut up all the tape for the upcoming opponent. So when the coaches came in the next morning,
it's all ready.
So and when I mean cut up, they had to watch everything and be like, this is 3 receivers. Click the 3 receiver box. This is motion. And then, our head coach would be like, I want to see every 3rd and long.
Here's a nickel package versus here's 3,
now
4.
It's 2 seconds. You can sort for 3rd and longs or blitz or whatever.
You put in 1 or 2 keywords and
they had this huge spreadsheet. They're like, okay, I can check this box on this play, this one on this play. And inevitably, I'm sure they were wrong once in a while. They watched like 5 tapes right after we got off the plane from Miami or whatever and got our head beat in and got in at like 1 a.m.
And they've been up for 18 hours.
Oh, yeah. They just go straight there.
Oh, yeah.
They find something to eat, and they just cut up tape at least 4 games because the coaches are coming in the morning, and they're going to grind for the next game.
Matt, you and I are both in a pretty...
if we can pull Scott aside at some point, I want to ask him about it. Yeah.
That would be fun. You and I are in a pretty good position now. We've got very good gigs now, I think is the right way to say it. But we had to do some grinding to get here, that's for sure.
Yes, no doubt.
Everybody did.
But I mean, the next generation will be like, boy, Wes and Matt had it hard. Like we don't even know what's difficult compared. They thought that was cutting edge back. And it was.
They thought that was great back then. That like we can come in the next day and watch tape.
No, I thought VHS tapes were great. That's better than the John Stallworth film that Bill Nunn would get and just not send to the next team. Like there would be one reel-to-reel tape from, especially those like small historically black colleges.
Yeah.
Like, okay, your job is to watch Stallworth and then send them to the Bengals. Like, I'm not sending anybody to Stallworth tape. I'm just going to draft them.
That's the old Bill Nunn special, baby. I'm not sending any tape. And now also, I'm not
the Bengals.
I'm not telling those guys I'm going to the dance
right.
in the rec hall tonight to
I'm
see
burning this one, and I'm drafting 82.
See how these big boys can move. That's always one of my favorite stories. That when Wolf used to tell that, and Pursuta used to tell that.
Makes sense.
Man, gotta love it. The art of scouting and tape procurement and all those things that have changed so much over the decades. Fun little story time there with some
didn't expect that.
some news of the day. It's that time of year for it.
It is.
If it was Wednesday of Ravens week, we wouldn't be talking about all the football tape that we used to cut up.
I guess Flacco's what brought that up.
But Flacco did bring that up.
I remember watching his Audubon high school tape. I don't think there's anyone in the league that I actually watched VHS tape still of.
Calais Campbell still a free agent?
But I definitely did not watch his tape.
But I mean, he might be the only other one in the league that
That's
had
probably true.
ample VHS tape.
Like
coming out of
Andy
high
Lee
school.
was our punter at Pitt,
Yeah.
and he lasted for like 18
Long
years.
time.
So I at least overlapped with him. Joe was a true freshman my last year at Pitt, so we actually were Pitt Panthers together.
Sure.
That's
pretty cool. Love hearing those stories. We'll have more of those that'll pop up throughout the offseason, I'm sure. When we return, let's talk some pre-draft visits. Let's talk some where the Steelers stand from a salary cap standpoint as well. All that and more as we continue to move and shake on this Wednesday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
What's up, NFL fans? The NFL Draft is finally here. And while you might not know who your team is drafting this year, you do know your watch party's #1 pick, Bud Light. The clean, crisp taste that has all the scouts talking. Guess that's why it's been the group's go-to draft beer season after season. Be sure to order a round for the table before your team's on the clock. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Back on the drive here on this Wednesday, and Matt, let's this is something that I think we did maybe about a week ago, but just kind of combing over the names that these Steelers have brought to Pittsburgh for pre-draft visits.
Yeah. So just to preface this doesn't mean that they love them. There's a lot of times that these guys get crossed off the list after this, or boy, I really have unchecked boxes. My scouting report is still has holes in it that I have not been able to fill. I want to bring this young man in and sit down with him. Sometimes it's a smokescreen. Sometimes they love him. So don't look too much into these 30 visits like they're definitely going to take all these dudes. It's not really how it works. And quarterbacks, it's never a bad idea to bring in a quarterback because you're going to play against them or, you learn all you can against,
Absolutely. And so there are, and this is also, as we typically like to preface, these are all via reports.
Yes.
Like this isn't officially released by the team, but they're not reports from, Pickensburg, Sixburg on Twitter. They're viable national and local reporters that have reported these things.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that the league all will know everyone's 30 visits. Like the Steelers will know the official ones that the Bears had and the Rams, et cetera. Yeah. It's just hard to find the information. The NFL is not going to publish it.
Right. Which makes sense.
Why would they?
For this regard, yeah. 2 quarterbacks have been on pre-draft visits so far. Carson Beck, we mentioned last week. And then Cole Payton, one of your guys.
Yeah,
out
he's
of North Dakota
definitely
State.
interesting. He's definitely interesting.
He's got a ton of upside. He's got the athleticism that you want. Going to need some polish without a doubt, but he's a very, very intriguing name in that quarterback conversation.
Like he's big, strong, fast, athletic enough that whoever drafts him might have a goal line or a Taysom Hill package right off the bat, depending who their starter is. So he can get his feet wet that way.
Yes. Trio of wide receivers still from last week. No new news this week, but it was Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, Kendrick Law from Kentucky, and Denzel Boston from Washington. So those are the same trio that we discussed last week.
Yeah, and Boston's not like the others. I mean, Boston you're thinking about in the first round.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Cincinnati kid Caldwell was a ridiculous tester, and he went from a borderline draftable guy to maybe a 5th rounder. I can see why you'd want to get your hands on him, though.
Yes, absolutely. He's one of those guys I think you'd want to talk to a little bit more and learn a little bit more about. One tight end, Khalil Dinkins out of Penn State, that we discussed that
that's
last week.
That's a local visit,
That's
right?
a local visit, yes.
They don't count, folks. Yeah, that's not one of the 30. They only called 30 visits because you get 30 of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, those do not count as part. The local ones do not count towards your 30. One offensive tackle we discussed last week, Markel Bell out of Miami.
Yeah, he was one of the early ones. Pure tackle. I mean, he's humongous. He's 6'9".
One guard, Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech.
He's another one that makes sense. Like we often pigeonhole Pregnon or the A&M kid.
Bistonis.
Yeah, Bistonis.
Bistonis.
I think Caldwell's, or that's his name, yeah. The Georgia Tech guy here is also a pure guard, day 2 dude that would be right in the mix for the left guard competition right away. I mean, he would not be a throwaway pick at all. I mean, like, you're looking at him like a starter.
Yes.
He had a good combine, too. So, side note, that's why it's on top of my head.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this enough, but not enough. But I had a really good conversation. I mentioned Marcus Mosher the other day. Yeah. We recorded Locked On Dynasty this morning, and we were just talking about McCarthy during his time with the Cowboys and talking a little bit more about Hoffman and all that. And basically what the reason the Cowboys didn't bring Hoffman back is because this staff just wants mashers. Like, they drafted the kid out of first-round guard that's like 340 pounds. And Hoffman's 300 on a good day. He can kind of struggle to keep weight on. He's nasty. He's not humongous. It's just not their style. But it just reiterated that McCarthy's going to be looking for athletes on the offensive line. He's not going to be looking for old-school fat guys. You know what I mean? Like, whoever they add on the O-line is going to be able to move.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
3 corners, Matt. Ephesians Prysock out of Washington. Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. I believe we mentioned both of those last week. And then Takario Davis out of Washington. So what a trio of guys from Washington so far.
So Davis is really odd because he is a true freaky size speed dude. I mean, he's over 6'3". I mean, he's probably taller than Porter. Blazed at the 40, super long. Like, if Pete Carroll was still in the league, sign him up. You know what I mean? He's kind of Reek Woolen, those type of dudes. Mm-hmm. Thin. So I could see why you'd want to kick the tires on him. Johnson doesn't add up to me, though, unless I'm misreading the room or they just love him, because he's good. To me, he's not worth the 21st pick, and he's got about 0 chance to be there for the 53rd pick. And he's pretty much just an outside corner, kind of the prototypical size speed dude. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just don't know a world where one of their first 2 picks would be on an outside corner. You know what I mean? Like, they have 2 starters,
and he's
obviously.
Not going to last past that point.
No, right. Yeah, I just don't quite get that one. Unless there's some medical, they just wanted to get there, some other reason. I don't know. Right.
I get what you're saying in terms of
I don't know how he could become a Steeler.
Boundary corner, outside corners, feeling like it's no vacancy left in that department.
Right.
Currently.
I mean, you would think in that neighborhood where if he's going to be a top 40 pick, that's a starter, and you got 2 starters and Samuel. You know, right. I just don't know where that would work.
Interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
1 defensive lineman, James Thompson Jr. from Illinois.
Don't know much about him.
Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 names on there that are late round picks I don't know much about, including the Kentucky receiver, which I should know.
Yeah, your kids aren't going to be happy with that one. You about to have 2 Wildcats in the house, Matthew.
True.
And then finally a trio of linebackers, one that we might classify as a safety, that being Kyle Lewis, of course, from Pitt. So he is a local visit, too. Doesn't count towards the 30. So 2 local visits so far, 1 Penn Stater, 1 Pitt Panther. Also, Matt, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
Yeah, that one stood out, too.
And Harold Perkins, who we discussed briefly yesterday.
I think we did
LSU.
talk a little bit about Perkins.
Yeah, I like seeing Jacob Rodriguez on that list.
Yeah. I just wonder if it's like, if we get to the second round, is he way too good to pass up? I often reference the podcast I do with Peacock, and I thought he had a really good point about Rodriguez and said, so we do a mailbag every Thursday, just like our Twitter stuff.
Twitter segments, yeah.
And one of the questions was, come up with 3 or 4 names that could be surprise first-round picks that no one's mocking. And my co-host said Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as he said, I'm like, yes. Like, what don't we like about him? He makes every play.
Then he plays a position that we've considered a non-position of value, like running back or tight end. But again, if you change that lens of looking for impact players,
right,
he defines the word impact. That's all he does is impact games.
All the time. And then he blew up the combine, and, the big knock on him going into the combine, which probably there was some stereotypical thinking, is I don't know if he's athletic enough. Well, and then he blows up the combine. He makes every play, and he's sideline to sideline. And the way Brian mentioned it was, he might be linebacker 2.
He might be.
And I mean, if he goes like 20th to the Lions or whatever, like, should we be shocked after Styles off the board? And I went, no, because he's going to be good at football. I mean, like, there's no way he's a bust. Now, I think I'm not taking him at 21. He could be another one of those no man's land between 21 and 53, though, too. But maybe they're just looking at him like, if he gets to 53, we just have to take him. He's our number 2 linebacker.
That would be, I could certainly understand that logic if that were the case, where it's not towards the top of your priority list, but just get good football players.
Yeah, he's safe.
You mentioned the Detroit Lions. A lot of people thought they were crazy when they took Gibbs.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people thought they were crazy when they took Campbell.
Campbell was the same draft, right? Yeah.
Turned out pretty well.
Turned out great.
Two pretty good football players.
They impact the game immediately. Yeah.
Matt, just piggybacking off of that. So that's what we know as of now in terms of the credible reports of only 2 local visits and then the rest of the pre-draft visits there.
Oh, real quick on Boston, at least the list that I saw recently, I looked yesterday, his is scheduled. So he hasn't been here yet. The other ones have reportedly been here already, I think.
Gotcha.
I think Boston is to be determined when he'll get here. He just had his pro day like a couple days ago or something, too.
That would make sense then.
And that can be a sticky thing, too. Like some of these dudes that maybe 25 teams want you to come in on visits. I mean, if you have some kind of medical or like, I bet like McCoy from Tennessee is going to be.
A lot of people,
A lot of people just want to get their hands on him, or they got ball outfield questions or whatever. You can't physically get to 20 cities or 25 cities between now and the draft.
No.
And by the way, you'd like to lift weights and
you'd
run
like to still work on getting yourself ready for the NFL season, 100%. Steelers now, Matt, a good kind of piece written today on SteelersNow.com by our buddy Alan Saunders, who's been on the show before, of the kind of salary cap snapshot of where the Steelers stand.
Yeah, I just did a general Google search for Steelers salary cap, and this popped up. I'm like, oh, I'm just stealing this. This is really well done. Yeah.
It's good research, good math, good due diligence by Alan, and he's one of those.
Yeah, he's good.
He's one of those journalists that does his due diligence for sure. This does not account. He's clear to make known. This does not account for the signings of Brock Hoffman and Travis Homer, which by
neither
the way,
one's going to break the bank, but still they're going to count, and they're going to probably make the team.
And by the way, both of those became official last night after you and I got off the air, so we no longer have to say reports. Those guys, it's on
That's on
Steelers.com.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those guys. Yeah, they'll affect the salary cap, but they're not going to massively tip the scales. As you know, it's not like either of them got multi-year,
huge money, right?
Huge
I'm sure Homer's the league minimum one, and Hoffman's probably a little better than that.
A little better than that.
But he does break this down almost down to the penny, and those guys would matter,
Yes.
Just the way he broke this down, I thought was very readable and digestible.
So the NFL salary cap is going to be a little over $301 million. It's estimated for that. That's just insane.
It's gone up like $100 million since COVID.
It's just insane. And the Miami Dolphins have $175 million of dead cap.
Dead cap space, right?
So a little over $300 million, let's say, just for easy conversation purposes. The Steelers are going to roll over just under $17 million from their cap last year.
Right?
About $16.9 million. So the Steelers are looking at a salary cap of about $318 million.
Yeah, so they get more to play with than everybody else. The rollover stuff's a real advantage.
If you look right now at their top 51 salaries, okay, 53-man roster, count for Hoffman and Homer, top 51 salaries right now is just a shade short of $280 million. So it's 279 and change. That combined with a little over $12 million in dead money leaves the Steelers,
which is low by NFL standards.
Especially for a team that has been winning division titles,
right.
Is not a bottom of the barrel,
Like compared to Miami, as you mentioned, they had $175 million in dead.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of that's Minka.
Crazy. And
actually for both teams.
Some of the dead numbers for the Eagles in the coming years are going to be nuts.
They're
when
nuts.
The A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson, you got to pay the piper from those contracts finally. So a little over $12 million in dead money for the Steelers. All of that math added together means the Steelers currently have approximately $26.5 million of salary cap space to play with.
And if you just go to overthecap.com or whatever, that's near the top. I would say it's 8th or 9th or something like that, most. But they also don't have a quarterback.
They do not.
And
they also still have to sign their draft picks.
Yes, as is everybody. But yeah.
And so you might look at that and you say, okay, say they give $13 million to Aaron Rodgers, $14 million to Aaron Rodgers. The rest goes to the rookies. Okay, then
There's still a little left over.
Still a little left over, but remember, there's still moves they could make. They could still release Malik Harrison and free up some space.
Yeah.
They could still restructure some Alex Highsmith types.
Yeah.
And
Allen
free
has
up
a pretty
some
good
space.
list there of all the guys you can restructure if you need be. He mentioned Harrison as a potential cap casualty. I've been bringing that up forever. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I think it saves you about another 4. Maybe they're just waiting for the draft to see if they land a linebacker or not.
Sure.
Then that's one of the advantages to taking, if you're sitting there in the 4th round, should we take a linebacker or safety? Well, maybe we should take the linebacker because we also get $4 million in cap space by cutting Harrison too.
Sure.
There's a lot of balancing.
Now there certainly
Omar's
is.
good at that stuff. Right. That's up his alley.
Could
But like some of the restructure stuff's interesting.
Yeah, TJ Watt could be restructured, save a little over $20 million. DK Metcalf, about 17.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a pretty significant drop-off after those two, as you would imagine. But even Ramsey, about $7 million. Highsmith, about $6.5 million. Freiermuth, about $5 million. Releasing Malik Harrison would save you close to $5. You could also restructure Jalen Warren or Deshaun Elliott to free up about $2 million a piece.
A little bit here and there, yeah.
So
there's moves, there's levers you can pull.
that's all in the balance of how it works with your bigger picture for next year and the coming years and where exactly you want those hits to have impact and what you want to kick down the road versus what you want to eat your vegetables with right now, as you like to say.
And if you do go to like overthecap.com or one of those, you can look at future years. The Steelers have almost as much cap space as anyone a year from now. However, this won't influence this year's cap that much, but I would imagine Porter, maybe Benton, some of these extensions are going to really eat into next year's cap.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's still coming down the line as well.
Yeah, that's probably more of a summer thing.
That was a nice little salary cap snapshot of where we're at right now. Make sure checking that out if you want because there's really good breakdowns and how they could restructure and release and how it affects the future and all those things. Our buddy Alan Saunders on SteelersNow.com if you want to dig into that a little bit more.
I mean, I by no means do I think this is coming, but hypothetical, if they wanted to trade for A.J. Brown, you could. I mean, hey, TJ, I need you to restructure and blah. You can make things work, but then you don't have this kind of freedom
Then
next
all
year
of a
at this
sudden,
time.
yes,
Right.
Your freedom down the line is
you're not nearly as liquid,
You're as my dad would like to say in financial advice, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Which works out a lot of times in this league.
Well, especially because the cap goes up every year.
Especially because the cap goes up every year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, you don't want to rob Peter too much because eventually you're going to have to repay Peter as well, not just Paul.
Sure. Like that's what Miami's finding out.
That's
Right.
That's what the Dolphins are finding out right now the hard way. Let's get to our last break here of the first hour. Matt Williamson walked in here today when we were doing our highly extensive pre-production meeting. Matt walked in and said, "I've got a new draft crush." I said, "Don't tell me anymore. We'll talk about it on the show." Who is Matt's new draft crush?
It's not a new name or anything. This isn't some fifth-round pick. It's just I might put him in the would you take him at 21 if the genie comes out of the bottle? He was not in that category. I think he is now.
Maxie and H.R.
Twitter loves when I take him in the first round every mock draft.
This is going to be, again, that meme of the distracted boyfriend looking over his shoulder at the other girl while Matt now is holding Max's hand, looking over his shoulder at somebody else. Who is that somebody else?
Max is still my O-lineman crush,
Okay.
but this is not an O-lineman.
We'll find out. The weird world of Matt Williamson. This is his Valentine's Day. Who does he have a crush on? We'll find out when we return. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here of the first hour of The Drive, and we got to find out who Matt's new draft crush is, Matt Williamson. All right, so is it somebody whose name we've mentioned more than just like...
Oh, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is a potential first-round dude. Everybody knows who he is.
Offense, defense?
Offense.
Okay.
I just think that people... I think the internet Twitter or all the mocks are vastly underestimating Casey Concepcion.
That was okay. My
particularly for the Steelers.
Okay. My first guess was going to be one of the Utah tackles, offensive linemen.
They're both
But
intriguing.
then Casey Concepcion was.
Yeah.
I may or may not have also listened to one of your recent podcasts where you were talking him up a little bit. So
Okay.
when you said offense, that came to mind.
Just
But
the last
tell me more.
48, 2, 3, 4 days, digging in, looking at different opinions, watching a little more tape of them. There's only like one thing I can say about him that I don't like, and it's not size. He's not this little slot guy. If you pull up his combine numbers, I think he was just under 6 feet and over 190 pounds. I mean, like, a magic number for wide receivers is over 195.
He's 196.
196, and I think he's right around 6 foot.
6 foot 196.
Yeah,
at the
he's not
combine.
this little slot jitterbug guy. He's bigger than that. He has too many drops. I mean, there's no way around that. His drop rate is high. Now, this is a side note, but we'll talk about this a lot. Drops, especially in the league, to me, are one of the most overrated stats out there. You know,
Sure.
Everyone sees them. Oh, he dropped the ball.
But did you drop it right in your hands, or did you get one fingertip on it and it was a little outside of your
and
catch
someone has to
radius?
make the judge. Is that a drop or not? You know? And this is not to defend Concepcion because his story is a little different. But usually, if I asked you, like, who led the league in drops? Over the last, 8 to 10 years.
Guys that are targeted a lot.
It's like Diggs, it's Edelman, it's Welker. It's the guys that get a lot of targets, usually in the teeth of the defense, that are getting smacked in the
Getting their
face
block knocked off.
Yeah, by big people. You know, I mean, like high volume, and targets are earned. I very much believe that. You don't target guys 10 times by accident.
Sure.
So highly targeted guys have more drops. So drops in general to me don't bother me. But his drop rate is too high. I mean, so that I'm starting with the negatives. And a lot of them, though, are concentration drops. He's so good after the catch. It's running before he catches the ball or a catch he should make.
Stuff you can coach.
Stuff you can coach or maybe focus a little bit more, because it's not like he struggles catching the football. His highlight reel catches are, whoa, and he has strong hands and he makes tough catches. He just drops a couple of easy ones. And 2 of them this year were surefire touchdowns. So people,
That stands
right. It
out,
makes
yeah.
it just looks that much worse. But boy, is he dynamic. I mean, he's already a great punt returner, which happens to be a Steeler need, and it's one more reason I like him. But he's so good after the catch. He moves really, really dynamically, out of his breaks. He's really tough and physical. I've never met him, but I love his personality and play demeanor on the field. He is very physical. He's well known to be like this wide receiver historian, like where he'll pull up Steve Largent tape or something and study his releases.
Interesting.
Really digs in deep for different wide receiver, study habits. And I think this is super cool too. Like, he has a stuttering problem. Okay. And so he doesn't, I'm not going to go to the podium. I'm not going to do interviews. Instead, he has gone out of his way to let everyone know he has a stuttering problem. And all you folks that have stuttering problems shouldn't shy away from it. I'm your poster boy for it. I'm going to sit here in front of, I'm going to sit here at the combine in front of a million reporters, and I might stutter once in a while. And I don't care.
Who cares?
That's just who I am.
That's who I am.
Right.
That's awesome.
And I have a good message.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff I love. Teammates love him. He will block. And Steelers specifically, I like Boston a lot. He's a little redundant to the 2 they have in terms of just size movement.
sure.
Not as dynamic. Like, he's not going to win a race against Concepcion. He's not going to have the wiggle Concepcion. And I still think Pittman's probably best in the slot. Lemon, to me, might be slot only or slot mostly. I think Concepcion's definitely big enough to be inside or out. He's definitely the most wiggliest, dynamic Steeler receiver the second they would take him.
Okay.
And the more I watch him, so for Steelers.com, Mike and Max and I all do a top 5. And
At
I've
every
gone
position, right?
at every position. I've done every one so far, but I'm about to do round 2.
Okay.
Like I did quarterbacks even before the combine. So I'll probably do quarterbacks tonight, the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, the first round's fine, but it's just, I make a lot of changes. I mean, so much. I mean, that was
You probably should.
That was 6 weeks ago.
As you and I have talked about
guys.
before, as new information becomes available, you change your opinions.
Yeah,
You don't dig your head into the sand and ignore it.
I'm watching free agents and stuff. Like I'm not a draft guy year round. I'm not Dane Brugler, but I might put him at wide receiver 2, and that's a generic list. I mean, this is not for the Steelers. It's just a top 5 safeties, guards, whatever.
After Tate.
Tate to me is still 1. Most years he wouldn't be 1, but he is super duper safe. I think there's a 0% chance he's there at 21. But that list we put together of would you trade 21 for player X, I'm this close, and that's why it's taken me a day or two to bring it up, to putting Concepcion on that list. And most people look at him like, maybe he's a border around first. He's the 6th receiver.
You're thinking about giving up 21. You're thinking long and hard about giving up 21.
I'm thinking he's different than the other guys, and I have less questions, and he's kind of exactly what the doctors ordered. And I'm still hooked on O-line in the first round, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't take a receiver.
So, okay, a couple follow-ups there then.
Mm-hmm.
You addressed the would you trade pick 21 for him. You're thinking about it.
I'm strongly he's knocking on the door to get in there.
We'll run that exercise back once or twice more before we get to the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe we'll revisit that conversation again. NFL comparison in his combine scouting profile put together by Lance Zierlein.
Lance does good work.
Is Doug Baldwin.
Kind of agree. Baldwin was an underwhelming, like when he walked in the door, not look like Randy Moss, but like he had a little bit of that Smith-Njigba subtle movements, always open. How did I get beat by that guy again?
Yeah. Feel
to him. And I think Concepcion has that. And you know me with comparisons, like you don't want to be like, yeah, he's Randy Moss, but faster and bigger. Like
he's Tom Brady with a better arm.
Yeah, and just more accurate and better leader. But Concepcion to me has more wiggle and more juice than Baldwin ever did.
Okay.
I mean, he definitely wins a foot race. I think he's a little more agile. He's a better athlete. Baldwin's a really good player. Like if he turned into Baldwin, he'd be thrilled. I mean, Baldwin's a really good player.
Maybe this is a little too early for you to answer this, but I got to ask. If I gave you like a would you rather type scenario, I guess it is a Wednesday. Would you rather Wednesday? Concepcion at 21 and another offensive lineman not named Venga or Max in round 2? Or would you rather give me Venga or Max at pick 21 and I'll take my chance on the wide receiver in round 2?
That's why I'm so strong still on O-line in round 1, just because I think I love the day 2 receivers, and he's not going to be one of them. I love the day 2 receivers, and I might take 2 of them. I take one the second and third round.
Yeah, we've talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, where I like some O-linemen, but you're going to be keeping your fingers crossed. Boy, Pregnon's sitting there at 45. Is he going to make it?
Sure.
Make it. There's just way fewer targets. And there are some tackles that are round 1 only, like Max or Proctor or somebody like that, or Fanu, that could be a guard or a tackle. You know what I mean? Like at least it might be a tackle one day. So the better value is always going to be the O-lineman than the receiver. But I wonder, and at nights I'll throw in run amok just for fun.
For fun.
And frankly, you throw it on Twitter and half people call you an idiot.
Sure.
And but it does drum up conversation.
Matt,
to
Twitter's
say the
a
least.
very reasonable place.
Of course.
I mean, there's nobody there.
Everybody's got a good head on their shoulders. And they all really know the game well.
Yeah, and you just love how there's no anonymous accounts. It's always people with their real picture and their real name who are calling you an idiot.
But the more mocks we do for the Steelers with their current amount of picks, you get to the 4th round real quick, or even the end of the 3rd, and be like, I don't really need a running back or a tight end, but I'm going to take one anyway. I don't really need a quarterback, but I'll take one anyway. I wonder if you could finagle, if you could trade back from 21, and I do this too often on mocks too, because you need someone to tangle, and trading back's always a better move. But if you could trade back from 21 to 25 and trade up from 53, I think it is, to 38 and get both.
It'd be great.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, all of a sudden I don't have 5 picks on day 2. I have 2 or 3, but I ended up with Concepcion and a no lineman.
Yeah, great.
You know what I mean?
Great.
Or something like that. And like took 2 big swings as opposed.
I'd be willing to give up a pick to do something like that.
Yeah, and that would be, I might give up quite a few. I mean, give up a third, a fourth, my second to move up heavy in the second round because Concepcion's sitting there at 34. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Interesting idea.
No future picks are going anywhere.
Yeah.
Never.
No, we've already tabled we've already tabled any conversation that starts there. Interesting.
Because you pick up extra picks by moving back. Is my point in round 1.
It's a well thought out thought to add to the think tank there of our ongoing draft conversation. Yeah. I'm sure we will definitely revisit that at some point, but we got to get to break
but
here.
I urge people to check out Concepcion if you haven't.
Yeah.
Just YouTube him or whatever too. He's got a lot more juice than maybe you give him credit for.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
He goes over the middle. I mean, he is not a finesse player at all.
He does like the teeth of that defense.
Yeah,
that's
he does.
For sure.
He does.
Hour in the books. Another hour to go. We'll get to your tweets in hour number 2. We'll talk most improved teams so far out of free agency. I've also got a fun little best of the West to tee up for everybody at some point as we're doing some things here on a Wednesday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, halfway home on the drive. Another hour to go. Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. It is hour number 2 here of the drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, and Matt. We're gonna hit the tweets again heavy in the back half of this hour because we've gotten a bazillion of them again too that we're trying to keep tabs on. We were also I'll bring you up to speed more on this when we go to break, but we've myself, TV, our fearless leader Brian LaMartina. We've got a fun idea for some of our listeners that we've been kicking around that we might roll out here at some point in the offseason that I think people would really like.
This is the first time hearing it?
Yes.
I figured. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so...
always the last to know, dude.
Always. Hey, to be fair, I just found out a couple hours ago, but that is...
That's actually been true since the beginning of the drive. If I need to know anything, it was told to Dale, and then eventually it would trickle down to...
Same with Moats and I.
Oh, yeah,
It was told to me.
Right,
via osmosis, Moats would figure out.
I'm like, I guess I'm supposed to be at training camp today or whatever. I'm like, all right. Blah, blah,
osmosis Moats. That rolls off the tongue kind of nicely. Although for the first time in our nearly decade of working together, I mean, not as intently as we are now the past year, but you and I have been doing shows and producing for you and Dale and stuff like that for about 10 years. I think you'll be holding my hand for the owners' meetings because I'll be the one asking you, like, what do we do? Where do we go?
A little. And the combine was that way a little bit the first time around or whatever.
Yeah.
But I warned you whenever you took over. It's like, I know I'm older than you, but I'm not going to be more mature or responsible than you. That's your job or this thing's not going to work. Or organized.
Much like the great Mike Pursuta told me many years ago, and I still remember, you're only young once. But Wesley, you can be immature forever.
Yep.
He told me that one night at Sharky's after a couple pops and a bunch of Bruce Springsteen on the touch tunes. Matt, you sent me an article this morning.
Well, you going to let me know what we're doing for the listeners or whatever? Or is that still you opened this segment like...
I said I'd let you know when we went to break.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to divulge it to the world. Okay.
Soon.
Okay.
It needs a little more
make
polish.
a note that somebody should tell me at some point. Please. If I'm involved.
You sent me an article, Ben Solak, who we like.
Yeah, I think he does really good work.
Ranked all 32 teams in the NFL based on who has had the best free agency.
Yeah.
Okay? So just free agency, not necessarily coaching changes and all these other different things.
No, but personnel moves. I mean, includes trades.
Yes, trades and free agency. And
roster stuff.
And not like who's the most improved, and you're talking about the Raiders like they've already added Mendoza. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What'd you do? What have you changed with your roster? Right.
And number one on his list, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. I loved seeing this, not because of my Steeler roots and whatnot, but I do respect Ben quite a bit. He's one of the ESPN people that I definitely click on his article every time it comes up. That's not true for everyone on the web, of course. But part of me selfishly made me feel a little bit justified. I'm like, somebody that has no skin in the game is actually agreeing with me that I really can't poke holes in their moves.
Because we've seen, remember, we went over the Fox Sports list last week that had the Steelers as being worse than they were when the season ended.
I'm like, except for quarterback, which I think we're going to figure that out at some point, I think this roster is way better than the one that got eliminated in the playoffs. I mean, and I really understand all the moves, and I understand I'm closer to this team than the other 31, but if I were giving out grades, they would be amongst the top 5 or 6 to me because I understand the process, and I don't think they broke the bank to do it. They weren't irresponsible moves, so seeing this list, maybe they're not number one on my list, but it was great to see somebody that I respect that has no skin in the game, that's a national dude, understand that, boy, this all makes sense. I think there's too many people out there like they're just living for today and they're just running it back with Rodgers and they got no vision and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's coming in the draft. They got a ton of picks. And please think about next year's first-round quarterback, hopefully. Right. I mean, that really isn't an option right now, but all this stuff adds up to me.
Yeah. He says he loves getting Pittman in the late-round pick swap. Says that so basically for every team he has I loved what they did.
It's not a deep dive on every move
I didn't love, so what I loved, what I didn't love, and for what I didn't love, he has nothing.
Yeah, right.
He says basically like it's not like the Steelers hit a bunch of home runs, but they had a ton of doubles.
And in this market, that's great.
Great work this time of year.
Yeah, it's great this time of year.
We don't need to roll through and talk about all 32.
No, so maybe hit the divisions or maybe the top 3 or 4.
2 is San Francisco. Which
Mike
was
Evans.
I guess kind of surprising to me, but you consider Mike Evans and only $14 million guaranteed in that Mike Evans deal is a nice.
He chose them at which is a nice situation to be in.
Lions at 3.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. They lost a lot, man.
Yeah, they've lost a fair amount. I mean, they made a couple trades. The O-line's still up in the air a little bit.
Number 4, the New Orleans Saints. David Edwards, Travis Etienne.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'll say it
like the Edwards pickup's great.
I'll say it with the crawl.
That's like a strong starting guard that you got for pretty decent money. I mean, it's not flashy, it's not fantasy related, but that's a good pickup.
Broncos at 5.
The Waddle move is
Jalen
big,
Waddle bringing back J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
Totally
Kept
get it.
some of their own, not real flashy before the Waddle trade, but then pushed their chips in.
6, Patriots, Elijah Vera Tucker, Romeo Doubs.
Like the Vera Tucker move made them better at 2 spots.
If he's healthy, that's a massive
The left guard
move.
goes to center, who they trade, and they get a pick for, and Vera Tucker goes in at left guard.
At 7, I might have thought they were a couple spots higher, but the Raiders check in at 7. I think that certainly makes sense.
Yeah.
Linderbaum, Quay Walker, N'Kobe Dean, Jalen Naylor, Kwity Paye. I mean, they added some proven production.
Now, one note is it's kind of like when people give out draft grades. Well, if you pick high, you should get better grades. Or if you have a ton of picks, you should get better grades. If you're the Raiders and you have a bazillion dollars of cap space,
you better get an A.
Yeah, because you got a lot of holes and you got a lot of cap space,
So let's see who else in the division is on this list. I am at 16 and still have not seen any Bengals checking in at 19.
Some of their defensive moves I thought were okay.
He said he likes
better than I liked last year.
Basically likes the defensive moves, but didn't love how they left the linebacker position untouched.
Yeah, that was maybe the worst linebacking group in the league last year.
21 is where the Browns check in.
They did more to their O-line than I thought they were going to be capable of.
Liked what they did to the offensive line, but also thinks that they maybe gave a little too much to Zion Johnson, but
yes, they definitely
probably
did.
Have the space to. So
well, yes and no.
They do have an expensive quarterback room.
They're bad about maxing out their credit cards and kicking the can down the road. They should probably
eat their veggies.
Eat their veggies like the Dolphins one of these years, because now that they're getting young and drafting dudes, actually,
And then I actually
Baltimore must be low.
They are the lowest of anyone in the division.
Everyone's so excited about Baltimore,
which is why I kind of like this, because we've read a lot of national
We've said
stuff
this over and
that's
over,
been
yeah.
very high on Baltimore's offseason. Solak has them 23rd out of 32 teams.
Hendrickson's great, and it's a huge need. Don't get me wrong.
But he said that they also are paying like tippy top of the market for the pass rusher and Trey Hendrickson, who might not be tippy top of the edge rushers anymore.
And might not be much longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But said that he really liked John Simpson along with Trey Hendrickson. But yeah, that they lost more than they gained. And
real quick on Simpson, in a nutshell, yes, their guard play was really bad last year. They were great at center. They were good at tackle. Their guards were bad. But just on the field, if you just look at guard, center, guard, they got worse. And their interior as a whole was bad last year, even with Linderbaum. And now it's worse with Linderbaum gone, even adding Simpson. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't make a weakness a strength.
Sure.
They survived a little bit.
All right. Dead last on his list is the Chargers.
Which I get because they had a ton of cap space. And I wonder if this has been a couple years in a row that they don't spend.
I also wonder, though, if they look at it like we're getting 2 of the top 10 offensive tackles in the world back.
Yeah.
That's our offseason.
That's our offseason. They kept like Khalil Mack and,
Yeah, but interesting.
But I just wonder if since Harbaugh's been there, they've had a lot of cap space and haven't really spent. And I wonder if that's just not his bag.
Dolphins at 31, that makes a ton of sense.
Sure, but
they just other than
but
Malik
it's obvious
Willis,
what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where I'd rank them.
I enjoyed that article, though, because it's just different. Like, we've seen a lot of love for the Ravens.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case here. We've seen a lot of maybe kind of questioning about the Steelers. Solak loves what they did. And again, this is from a national guy. This is not from someone wearing black and gold glasses.
No, he's got no skin in the game at all. And you don't just put the guys at the top that had the most money.
Yes.
To me, that's kind of shortcut to thinking.
Correct. Matt, on Monday on the show, quickly here before we go to break, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I spent a ton of time on this last night.
Did you?
Monday on the show, we had a fun little brief conversation.
Oh, last Monday. I thought you were talking about coming up here from
the
owners' meetings.
Last Monday, we had a fun conversation about some things in life that used to be cheap but are now expensive. And we were talking about, like, I think vinyl records and some things like that.
Okay.
This is not like gas and housing and, this is like
interest rates. And
yeah.
So we're not going to talk about these things, right? Yeah.
Back in my day,
right.
New suit cost a nickel. Now it costs $500. And I got a tweet from somebody that was like, you should turn that into a best of the West. That was pretty funny. So real quick for you, Matt, my top 5 things that I miss that used to be cheap that aren't cheap anymore. Number 5, Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. So I never went, but back in our younger days, my buds would go every October because there was MLB playoffs. There was every sport. They went for a long weekend, and they were like, you could get there for nothing. You could gamble if you're not.
Cheap. The hotels used to be cheap. The food used to be cheap. It was all about getting you to gamble.
Right.
Now people don't gamble as much, and so everything else is
because they can gamble here on their phones
everyone
or
can
whatever.
do it on their phones. Exactly right.
Yeah, they went in their 20s because we didn't have a lot of money back then, and they'd eat at Little Caesars, and right. And
now,
it's a cheap trip, and you can spend what you want.
Now you can't find a slice of pizza for less than $12.
Really?
And you can't find a hotel room or a flight that's anywhere close to being what you would classify as cheap. Number 4, streaming services. I remember when Netflix and HBO, it was like $5 a month.
Yeah.
No ads. Now it's $20 a month.
With ads.
Streaming services, number 4. Get out of here.
You've gotten to know my wife a little. Bring that up if you want to see her head explode. It makes her crazy.
I'm ready to go back to cable. I really am.
We're so old, we have both.
We all cut that
She's
cord.
Like, do we really need another streaming service?
We cut that cord like a few years ago. Can I repair that cord? Can we put it back together, please? Number 3 on the list, food items, chicken wings, oysters, lobster, fast food.
Boy, wings come to town.
My goodness.
That was a COVID shortage. I mean, in college, we had 10-cent wings at Ohio Street Bar.
You'd have $10 all you can eat wings. It was unbelievable.
I forget where we used to go on the South Side where we were, before I was in the business, so I was early 20s. Mm-hmm. I'd go watch Monday football with my boys, and they brought out a dozen wings for every pitcher you bought.
Lord.
I mean, buying pitchers of Miller Lite for $6, and here's another dozen wings for you guys. They're like, just throw them on top. I don't know which one you ended. I mean, you ended up with too much of both.
Glory days,
it was
right
wonderful.
there. I remember when oysters were like buck a shuck. Now they're crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Fast food, man, $5 used to be able to eat like a king at McDonald's or Taco Bell. Now it's like $12 just to get a basic burger or a quesadilla.
It was like 3 years ago. I had 4 teenagers in my car driving through Chick-fil-A, and they're like, the bill will be $99, sir. And they're like, everybody got a milkshake. I mean, like, it was insane. I might have been over 100, to be honest with you. I'm like, did I spend over $100 at Chick-fil-A just on the drive-through? And I got one sandwich.
Again, I'm not talking about like ribeyes and fillets.
No,
and things that have always been expensive.
Right.
Number 2, vinyl records and concert posters. We've talked a little bit about this.
Your concert poster stuff you talked about, yeah.
Concert posters used to be easy and cheap to find. Now it's like a whole trading game. Vinyl records, same thing. You could go into any secondhand store and you could get Stevie Ray Vaughan for $3.
Yeah.
Now they're $30 for a record.
And plus you said like the concert posters, and I'm sure everything. You used to have to get in line super early before the show.
I used to buy them walking out so I wouldn't have to like
you don't want to carry them
the whole time.
Yeah. I want to be in the parking lot the extra hour. I don't want to be at the show way before the opening act.
Exactly right. And then number 1 on the list, Matt, sports and concert tickets. Way before this whole Instagram, TikTok generation thought it was cool to go to events. Concert tickets, sporting events, easy peasy, no problem.
None of them were $100.
None of them.
Right. And
Not
I know
even
there's
close.
inflation and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you could go.
Not even close. And you used to be able to like go to your Giant Eagle and buy tickets. Now you're paying insane service fees on all these.
Yeah.
$50 ticket actually costs you $80 because you got to pay $30 in service fees. Concert tickets now are bought up by bots and Ticketmaster and resold right away for 3 times the face value. Angry.
Good ones.
Angry. I used to, when we were seniors in high school, we'd go down to PNC Park. We'd wait till like the 2nd or 3rd inning, walk up to the ticket gate with $1 bill, each of us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. 2nd inning, 3rd inning, they'd print us off a ticket to go sit in the outfield, and by the 7th inning, we'd be in the dugout hanging out with the team because there was nobody there.
Right.
There's my best of the West, top 5
High-end
things.
bourbon's the other one. You used to, especially around here, you could go Weller's or Buffalo Trace. Rob bought me a bottle of Buffalo Trace when we were down
I remember you
at the
telling me about
Combine. Eagle Rare. Used to get those for like $16, and now you can't even find them, and they're like 80 or something crazy.
One that I almost had on the list but was just left off was Guinness and PBR.
Really?
Guinness and PBR used to be the beers that you could get for like $3 was like the cheapest
I remember
beer at the
PBR.
bar.
Yeah.
Now they're like hipster, popular, cool.
Yeah, I heard that about PBR.
Now-
like, we used to, like, that's all there was, yes.
Right.
But most were like, that's not my choice.
Right.
Right.
And now Guinness has become
like,
such a cultural thing that it's like $7 or $8 a pint everywhere you go.
That I
instead
can
of
kind of
$3.
understand.
Yeah.
More so than PBR. Like,
At least
PBR
there's
is like
you
not
gotta have
that good.
nitrous and the whole thing.
Yeah,
to get Guinness right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's maybe just because we were over there and it, hit home with me a little
Oh,
bit.
Lord.
Right.
Let's go back. What's as they would say, what's the crack?
I bet we're gonna get a lot of tweets about other things we're not thinking about.
This is one of those topics that like we talk about for 4 minutes, but we'll get 40 tweets from it. Let's get into some of those tweets as we roll along here and navigate through hour number 2. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, we'll get to your questions, comments, concerns, and reactions.
Ooh, Little League sports. Wait till you have kids that are like in like.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Like baseball bats, things like that, or just to have your kids play Little League. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Yeah.
That's a great one.
We don't just share. Back then, they'd have a bag and we'd share 3 bats and a catcher's equipment. We'd share a cup. There'd be one cup that both teams share. Right. Yeah, right. Like now, if your kids are in Little League sports, it's expensive, let alone if you're on like a travel team or anything like that. It's going to cost you.
Every cool thing gets co-opted by a bunch of people, and then it becomes expensive. Way to go, jabronis. We'll get to your questions, comments, concerns, and reactions as we roll along here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Rolling along here on the drive on this Wednesday, well, I guess now into the evening, here on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Matt, let's Let's get to the questions, the comments, the concerns,
All right.
and reactions, because they are
Coming in hot and heavy lately.
They
huh?
are aplenty. Matthew leads us off and basically asking if you could ever see a scenario where the Steelers would take someone at pick 21, say it's Venga Ioane,
Okay.
and then use some of their draft picks to get back into the end of the first round to take a wide receiver, maybe Omar Cooper Jr., KC Concepcion. Wondering what we think about that idea.
I sort of floated that out there earlier, but I caveated it with trading down in round 1 would make that easier just to pick up more stuff. You know, if you can move from 21 to 24 and then move from 53 to 34.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you'd have even more. Not that it would be incapable, but 53 to the sticking point's obviously the moving up part. Yeah, moving up from 53 to say 40 isn't just a third round pick, you know, and you could give up 2/3 or whatever. But if I've made the rule that I'm not getting rid of any future picks, because everyone's going to ask for future picks.
Yep.
If the Steelers trade back, they're going to ask for future picks.
Yep.
Everyone's going to ask for future picks. Everyone wants the same stuff. I don't know. This draft, I think it might be a little more challenging, even with the wealth of picks the Steelers have. But I am certainly up for it, of especially trading up from that second rounder, you know, with all those thirds you got floating up there to go get Concepcion or, you know, whoever. Yeah, Cooper or whatever.
It's an interesting conversation piece because they certainly do have, as we all know, 12 picks and plenty to work with there.
They do.
Bridgeburner tweets us and says, what do you think about Darnell Jackson Jr. maybe in the third round?
Florida State nose type guy, yeah. Sort of a poor man Banks in terms of he kind of looks the part. He's a 6'6", nosier guy. I need to do a little more work on him. I have taken him in the third round in mocks. He's a massive player. You'll see this at this position sometimes. Like Daniel McCullers is the worst example of this, of these 6'6" behemoth, huge hands, long arms, not necessarily fat guys that are noses. But like McCullers, I am picking on him. He's a 7th round pick. He would stand up straight 9 out of 10 reps and just stand there like an oak tree and get blocked. But 1 out of 10, he comes out low and he just takes the center and
like he's on roller skates.
Right. But it's like you can't do it 2 in a row, and you get one good snap out of him, and then he comes out of his stance high, and you know, and some of it's stamina, some of it's just not the ability to bend, and there's some stiffness. Now Jackson's a much better version of that, but he's that version, and it interests me. Yeah, I mean, of the D tackles, more and more. I mean, I referenced this a week or two ago that I forget who put it out on Twitter. It was right after the Steelers made the free agent signing that all their D linemen are 6'3" plus. They all have long arms. I don't think they want the nose that looks like Casey Hampton. I mean, I just don't think that's what they're going for. I think if they're going to add a nose type guy on here, it'll be more the Jackson type.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to keep coaching him up to keep his pads down. But there's something to work with there.
Rawl tweets us and says, what would it take to get up to the top of the second round? Second and a third round pick.
At least.
You're 53 and probably one of your earlier third round picks, not pick 99.
Yeah, I'm thinking and something. You know, like would 2 in your last 2/3 get you to the third pick in the second round? You also have an extra 4th. You know, I don't think your earliest 3 and your 2 gets you to say 35. So a little more than that.
A little more.
Yeah.
We need to, at some point we'll pull up that draft.
We can pull up the chart.
We'll pull up the draft chart.
And at least we'll be in the
ballpark.
And it's not gospel, but it is a good guideline. Ian
tweets us and says, a lot of Twitter thugs keep talking about trading TJ Watt every day.
I've heard about it, yeah.
Would you entertain it if it yielded a haul for the 2027 draft? Also, is Jordan Tyson the next Randy Moss? I think that would be the only way that you would think about entertaining is if it gave you a real haul for the 2027 draft.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't think anyone thinks it's going to happen. I bet this tweeter doesn't think it's, tomorrow we're going to come in and we're like, oh, they traded TJ Watt. I don't think that's going to happen.
It would be good for the content purposes, though.
It would.
Although we won't be here tomorrow.
Good point. The only way I could see him getting traded would be if the season doesn't go particularly well and the trade deadline, you're at like 2 or 3 wins and there's desperate teams like the Lions and TJ's still really
Bears.
good. Right. And the only thing they can give you is future picks, which is what you wanted anyway. And maybe you get the Lions or Bears first rounder, and then you're sitting there going, well, we have an early first, and we just got a first. Get him off the books. That probably almost guarantees us a quarterback in some way, shape, or form because our pick's earlier than we expected. But I can't imagine going into this season not trading him and trading him. You know what I mean? I don't know if he'd be worth more or less than Crosby. I think less.
I mean, he is, 3 years older?
I was guessing it's 3 years older.
Yeah.
And Crosby, I mean, a trade did basically happen, right? Yeah. I don't think you're getting that kind of haul.
Probably not in season either, because the bigger trades like that tend to be.
Yeah.
But maybe you get a first and a second.
I mean, I'm open to that if you're not a contender at the trade deadline.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, things have to go pretty bad.
Exactly right.
Now, you do have Herbig, and, you could make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I right now I don't think that's on the table.
No. I think I think they plan on him being a one helmet guy.
One helmet guy.
Right, yeah.
Annie tweets us and says, I was glad when they brought back McCollum as a backup center. I am even gladder to bring in Hoffman. Don't sleep on those free agency signings that happen after the big first wave.
Really well said. I got nothing else to add, but really well said.
Completely agree.
Yep.
Nicholas tweets us and, says, hey, guys, love your work. And, along the lines of the ongoing defensive tackle versus nosy-ish discussion, wondering why we don't talk more about Harmon's potential to do nosy-ish things.
Yeah.
It's basically saying, Benton, they've tried Benton. What about Harmon? Is that something we need to talk about?
Yeah. I saw this one, too, and I think Benton's a little bit heavier. Yeah, and maybe a little taller as well. I'm not. They're close. I just don't know why you'd mess with a good thing. I mean, I think he's pretty set where he's at. I think Y.A. Black's the one you consider bumping more inside. He's the bigger body. He's slower off the ball. He's not as dynamic. He's not as good at what he does yet. I understand the idea, but I don't need a lot of moving parts in there either. I also don't know that they'll be definitely won't be as 3-4 oriented. Not that there's not that many snaps where you have a nose flanked by 2 DNs and 2 outside linebackers, but I understand the thought process, but I wonder if there's going to be more movement, period. Alignment versatility.
That's something we'll certainly, I think, be keeping an eye on. All right, let's see here. It's funny. We keep getting tweets about people in the draft and that kind of ongoing conversation that we've had this week. Michael Adesso tweets, I'm Team Matt on the draft. I'm more excited for day 3 of the draft than the Super Bowl. Oh, you guys. I love that. I love you guys.
This is a conversation that's never going to die.
He said, I'm a team building guy. I love that in sports. Draft is a culmination of months and months of study and prep and excitement, and seeing where they end up is priceless. I agree with you on that team building part. That is a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. That's just how I'm wired.
As a kid who grew up playing Madden and NHL and MLB, all the sports games growing up.
Yeah.
I always loved the let's take a really bad team and strip them of their assets and see if we can get better.
Yeah.
Or, let's see if we can take a good team who hasn't won a championship and get them over the hump, that type of thing. So I do agree. I would just much rather watch the Super Bowl.
I mean, what I did, which is different times, obviously, is if we play wiffle ball in my backyard, most of my buddies are all better than me. But I made them, we would do a draft first. Okay, I'm taking George Brett. You get Mike Schmidt, and I'd write a lineup up, and, we would team build beforehand a lot, And that was my favorite part.
I can certainly see why.
Right.
My favorite part.
I'm sitting there looking at him I definitely built a way better team than him, but I probably still won't win.
I love these. I love it when we like step into a conversation point on a Monday and it ends up lingering all week. That's the good stuff in the radio world.
When you're 10 or 12 years old and you pretty much realize that I have a way better chance to be a team builder than an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good realization. It's a tough one as a kid.
It is.
I remember my dad woke me up. It was like second, like Little League, you're young 1 year and the next year you're old. Like if you're in the majors or minors or whatever, you're in there 2 years. And there's a big difference being the old guy than the young guy if you're 7 and 8 or whatever. And I remember the 1 year thinking I actually got a shot at the All-Star game. 5 guys go from every team. My dad was one of the assistant coaches and wakes me up at like 10 at night. And he's like, Matt, they took Mark Warno, not you. And I'm like, I couldn't even make the All-Star team as the old guy. I'm like, I think the writing's on the wall.
Son, it's time to get on with your lives' work.
Yeah, why don't you start watching tape?
I had to have that conversation with my dad twice.
Okay.
Once that, son, you're not going to play in the NHL, so get that dream out of your head.
Yeah.
And 2, son, you're not the next Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan unless you start practicing 8 hours a day.
So you better do a little more than just pick it up once in a while. Yeah.
Soul-crushing conversation twice. All right, along these lines, Josiah tweets us, which time of the year is your favorite for sports? You got early fall with football in the World Series. You got bowl season leading into the NFL playoffs in the wintertime. Springtime, you got March Madness, opening day, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, draft.
What's yours?
I mean, mine is fall. Because
just NFL season,
NFL,
period.
college football, hockey, my favorite thing.
Yeah, I don't really care about the World Series part.
Yeah, frankly. I mean, that's a nice, like,
yeah.
I watch the World Series the way that, like, I think a lot of people watch basketball and hockey playoffs.
Yeah.
I might have it on in the background. I keep an eye on what's going on in the games, but I'm not intently watching every second.
And even like a week before it, I don't even know who's in the playoffs.
But if it's like game 7 or something like that, I'll be dialed in.
Okay. I'm usually like writing an article while it's on. That type of thing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Or reading a scouting
report. Have it on while I'm cooking dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
But definitely the fall. I mean, football and hockey are my 2 favorite sports. And in the fall, you get the NFL, you get college football, you get hockey. That's it for sure.
We mentioned this with the Vegas conversation. Like, I was kind of envious of my buds because they'd just sit in a sports book in the fall and watch so many different things to pick from. Yep. Like, that does sound pretty awesome. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Josiah also wonders, what would your walk-up song be before you stepped into the batter's box? I think I just said this the other week, actually, but mine would be When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin.
I was always... Not bad. I'm sure these have been used, but I've always been torn between Paradise City or Thunderstruck.
Those are 2 good ones.
Yeah.
Paradise City is, because it's all about like the first 7, 8, 9 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see where we're at here. We could get another one in before we go to break. RJ tweets, a Steelers genie grants you 3 wishes for the Steelers this year, except for you can't wish for a franchise quarterback. You can't wish to win the Super Bowl. What would your 3 wishes be? Ooh.
I mean...
Okay.
I actually think it's a bad question, but it's a good question.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Number 1 would be for this draft class to be as good at quarterback as we think it's going to be.
The upcoming one.
Because, yes, that's not me wishing for a franchise quarterback. That's me wishing that the pool is as good as we think it's going to be.
Because the rug got pulled out from under us this year.
That would absolutely be one.
The Klubniks of the world that everyone was so excited about aren't exciting anymore.
Number 2 for me.
That's a reasonable one.
Number 2 for me. Zach Frazier turns into the best center in the National Football League.
Okay. See, I was going to say something like all your draft picks hit. But that's like asking too much. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said it's a bad question, but it's a good idea. You know what I mean? Like,
Number 3, the Aaron Rodgers saga gets wrapped up soon.
I got to think on that one.
2027 strong quarterback class.
I like that thought.
Zach Frazier, best in the world. Aaron Rodgers.
I think that one doesn't need our help.
Doesn't lead. I like hearing you say that. Aaron Rodgers doesn't linger into summertime.
Yeah. I don't want to be at OTAs again and not knowing that answer.
Same, because that means that when it's impossible to park down there, it's going to be even more impossible because all the national media jabronis and slappies are going to be showing up trying to figure out what's going on with Aaron Rodgers.
I just take these questions so literally sometimes. Like, I could be like, Roman Wilson turns into Antonio Brown.
That's a good one.
I mean, that
Caleb
would be.
Johnson turns into Lev Bell.
You'd be pretty happy if they turned into phenomenal players. Like someone that's not so great right now.
Mike McCarthy has a Andy Reid type run here. In
Exactly right.
Close down his career.
Yeah, and then the Super Bowl would follow. Right.
That's how you can kind of get there if you just finagle it a little bit.
No, I like your idea about don't have the rug pulled out from us for next year's quarterback.
I think
class.
that's the most realistic thing you could add. Have 6 realistic options for a first-round quarterback or something like that.
Because this year it was pulled out from under. It was bad.
Absolutely was.
Bad.
Big time. One more segment to go. We'll roll through as many of these questions as we can get to before we get out of here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment of The Drive on this Wednesday, and we will continue to roll through as many of your questions, comments, concerns, and reactions on the X Twitter here before we get up out of here. Guys, good one from Mike. He says, I just realized Williamson, Vittmeyer, Uhler, WVU.
Oh, jeez.
How have we not thought of this before? Mike, you just jumped into a gold mine, baby. It actually works, too. My TV just gave you the cap tip like a
done,
like a major league pitcher walking off.
You're smiling like a butcher's dog over there.
Well, it's funny too because it works in the way Matt was part of the show first, then TV.
I guess that's true.
So
it
works
that was our
chronologically
order. We joined
as well.
the crew.
Mike,
I guess we all know what it's like to sit in the back of the class too and be that guy too.
Like you're one to talk, Mr. Creative Writing. Okay.
Yeah, like we were all in that home room with the Y's and Z's.
Oh, see, I thought that was a WVU joke, but that was just
our
last
no.
name.
I
You're
just
right.
meant like being
We
late in the alphabet.
We all know what it's literally like to be in the back of the class.
Yeah. I used to complain about it. My mom's like, I don't want to hear it. I was a Zabrovis.
Z. I remember I think it was like middle school, but there was this regular substitute teacher. You know how like you'd have subs that you
would recognize them.
You would recognize and get a couple times a year, who would always do like when we would line up to go to the cafeteria or whatever gym class. Would be like, all right, we're going Z to A today, and I would always be like, woohoo! That was like Matt. I was like Matt on draft day on that day when we would.
It's so confusing for the kids though. Like, does T come before S now, or right? U's and V's get tough.
Sit there and
right.
Mike adds, how do you see Brock Hoffman fitting into the offensive line? Is he left guard competition? We talked about this a little earlier in the week, but yes, left guard competition.
I think as it stands today, him and Anderson would be fighting for the left guard spot.
And then he's maybe your backup to center and right guard.
Yes, and definitely your center backup.
Yes.
He's done his best work at center. Again, I talked to Marcus again today about him. And what I didn't realize is he's a little lighter than I thought, and he does struggle a little bit to keep weight on. So he is not going to look like Chris Kimiatu. He's not going to look like a guard that's 340 pounds. He's a movement-based dude. But he is super rugged, and he's really, really physical despite not being, 320 pounds. Mm-hmm. But he's done his best work at center. He's taken his most snaps at center. But I absolutely think your line's in really good shape if he's the backup across the board on the interior or a spot starter at one of those. I really like the addition.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want. You want a guy with versatility in that type of role.
Really smart too.
Smooth Dave, one of our regular tweeters, says that if the Steelers do go with drafting wide receivers, say they take one on day 2 and one on day 3 as well, is that smart? Is that a smart bet to acquire high-level wide receivers? I look at the wide receivers we've drafted in rounds 2 to 4 over the last 10 years. Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Sammy Coates.
Yeah, I guess those are good examples.
There was also a stretch before that, though, of the Mike Wallaces and Emmanuel Sanders, and I know Antonio Brown is an ultimate outlier. I don't even
Martavis Bryant was really good, too.
Bryant.
And Juju was a hit most of the time, too, as a second-rounder. I would counter that by saying, looking around the league, the last 10 to 12 drafts of just day 2 receivers, there's a wealth of studs.
Yes.
Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, on and on and on. You can do real well on day 2.
George Pickens was a day 2 guy.
Yeah, right.
And that didn't work out for other reasons, but not because he can't play.
It wasn't like he was useless on the field.
Yes.
Now, there's also a lot of there's a lot of round one misses at wide receiver, more than people think, too. I mean, like Travion Burks and guys like that. I mean, there's more than you think is round one misses. Famously, Aaron Rodgers never had a first-round receiver. Yeah, he has Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams and did quite well. Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a sweet spot, especially in this draft. I love the day two receivers.
That would be my answer. Would be it varies from year to year.
Yes, I'm sure he's heard me say I like taking two of them on day two because I think there's a lot to pick from. Right,
one ends up being a second contract guy. Great,
and I would take two that are sort of different. Maybe one of them's Burks or one of those short guys.
Yes. Taco Cat tweets us. Is this our first encounter with Taco Cat? So. 2 questions. All right, Taco, since it's your first time, I'll let you get a double take in here. Number 1, how do you see the evolution of the tight end position in the current state of NFL offenses? More pass catching, more traditional inline blocking, more positionless usage? Well, that's a good question. Second, if you have the chance to see, and then the tweet cuts off. I'll see if I can find the second question here. But that first one, Matt, that's a good one. How do you see the evolution of the tight end position?
More multiple tight ends on the field, particularly these last 2 years. The Steelers were kind of ahead of the game on that, but the Rams took it to a new level in terms of 13 personnel. But the latest trend, and this is very Steeler relevant, is everyone's talking about, boy, the league's going to a lot of 6-0 line. Yeah, they are. But what is getting more and more popular are the Darnell Washingtons, the guys that might not run a 4-4, but can truly block defensive ends and edge rushers. Like Jackson Hawes. I mean, like these old school inline Mark Bruners of the world, that are real blockers, but against nickel and dime that you get so much that they can actually block an edge. They're becoming more and more valuable, and they're not as easy to. You watch a lot of college. Mm-hmm. There aren't many blocking tight ends.
Not anymore.
And that doesn't mean they can't catch. I mean, like, you got to be something in the passing game, but they're almost always ignored as route runners. And if they can block an edge, that's a huge advantage against light boxes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's been a heck of an evolution for that position over the last decade or so, and I don't think it's fully finished. All right, let's see here. Last one of the day, most likely, goes to, my goodness, there's still like a dozen of these that we didn't get to. You people are crazy. Last one of the day, Paulie Walnuts tweets us, hey, nice little Sopranos reference there. Nice. We had a Always Sunny in Philadelphia yesterday. Yeah, we got a Sopranos today. Besides inexperience, what is holding Will Howard back from being a better prospect? Seems like he had a lot of success in college, has some physical tools. Just curious why he seemed to have gone so late in the draft. And then I compare him to someone like Kenny Pickett, who was drafted in the first round. Also, Steelers currently 7.5 to 8.5 win total on different Vegas gambling sites. I've already locked in the over.
7.5 seems low.
7.5. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, 8.5.
I'm sure that's about where they usually are.
It seems like that's what they've been the last few years.
Yeah.
And they always beat it by a game or two.
And they usually beat it by a game or two.
But 7.5 definitely feels like that's, you could put some futures on that one.
So Howard, first off, I thought he was a value in the 6th round. I thought he was like, if we had this conversation 1 year ago, I thought he was a 4th round player in terms of traits, prospect. To get him to 6, great. I think they did real well there. They must have agreed or they wouldn't have taken him.
Sure.
Now, I did think it was interesting when you compare him to him and Pickett, they're not much different physically. I mean, just in terms of size, speed. I do think Kenny's twitchiness was a little underrated. I thought he had more quickness than people realized. Everyone remembers like the scramble fake slide thing he did at Pitt. But his suddenness and pocket movement was better in the pros than I remembered. He had other issues, obviously, and still does. But as for Howard, I just don't think he. I think most of his, if he's going to be successful, and most people think this is his strength, anyways, that have been around him, is above the neck and reading defenses and anticipation and getting the ball out to the right place, point guarding it up, which is easier said than done. I mean, you run the plays like their run is hard to do, and he looks like he's on path to be that type of guy. But I think the question said something like, and it looks like he's got physical abilities or some physical abilities. And I think that's right. He has some.
Yeah.
But there's no physical trait that's an A.
Like
arm
strength,
talent, size,
athleticism.
You're right.
Sure.
I mean, he's got nothing. And there's been really successful quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins doesn't either, or even Matt Ryan doesn't. Guys that had really good careers that don't have Josh Allen's arm or size or Lamar's legs or whatever. But he doesn't have a trait that is upper tier by NFL starter standards. That's different than college prospect coming out of school
standards. Or do you
standards.
just belong in the league in some capacity?
Right. Like Rodgers is an amazing thrower of the football. And even talking to like Pursuta and Rob and these guys, they're around him every day. And he's been with the Steelers for a year. And you look at Rodgers and be like, man, he's the best thrower in the league. No, he's not. I mean, like, this league's unbelievable when I say, comparing them to the starters in the league. I mean, that includes Mahomes and Allen. And I mean, like, if we saw them at camp, we'd be like, oh my Lord.
Sure.
Like, how does that happen?
And that's just part of the natural evolution of sports, I think, too.
Right. And you're around these guys like, boy, he's so much better thrower than anyone since Ben. Of course. And he's one of the best throwers that's ever lived. But that doesn't mean he's the best in the league. You know what I mean? Like, if we've seen him throw and it's amazing. And if he's 6th, well, that means Howard's 40th.
Right.
I mean, just the level of competition's insane. We're not comparing him to the guys he was drafted against. We're talking about the guys that are starters in the league, the best walking the planet.
Exactly right. Good answer there, and that's why I figured that would be our last one, because I figured you would take a couple minutes to walk that one down.
And there's more to playing the position than having the biggest arm and all that. Yeah.
You say it all the time. Like you say it all. I think you said it yesterday. Like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady didn't have the greatest arms in the world.
No, no, right.
But they're two of the greatest quarterbacks, probably the greatest, and another top 5 of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
We would.
That wasn't their best trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff from everybody on the tweets. We will get to as many of those as we can before we get out of here this week. I tried to kind of get some of our regulars in there and some new names too.
Sure.
So keep tweeting if we didn't get to you. You know we will, and we do really appreciate it. That will do it for today. No show tomorrow. I'll be at Wrigley Field, all right? So don't tune in. But Friday we'll be back. We'll close down the week. We'll do our weekly mock draft on Friday.
Cool.
Hopefully I'll have some good stories from Wrigley
and
Chicago.
Like that's right. Hopefully you don't have bad travel stories. I mean, jinx you, but
don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, okay? It's a Talladega Nights reference. Big thanks to Mr. TV, Tyler V, on the video producing. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody, and we will talk to you on Friday. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
What's up, NFL fans? The NFL Draft is finally here. And while you might not know who your team is drafting this year, you do know your watch party's #1 pick, Bud Light. The clean, crisp taste that has all the scouts talking. Guess that's why it's been the group's go-to draft beer season after season. Be sure to order a round for the table before your team's on the clock. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.